January 1934, permission to play. Sometimes when Ma is busy in the kitchen, or scrubbing, or doing wash, I can ask her something in such a way I annoy her just enough to get an answer, but not so much I get a no. That's a way I found of gaining what I want, by catching Ma off guard, especially when I'm after permission to play piano. Right out asking her is no good. She always gets testy about me playing, even though she's the one who truly taught me. Anyway, this time I caught her in the slow stirring of biscuits, her mind on other things. Maybe the baby growing inside her. I don't know. But anyhow, she was distracted enough. I was determined enough. This time I got just what I wanted. Permission to play at the palace. January 1934, on stage. When I point my fingers at the keys, the music springs straight out of me. Right hand playing notes sharp as tongues, telling stories while the smooth, buttery rhythms back me up on the left. Folks sway in the palace aisles, grinning and stomping and out of breath, and the rest eyes shining, fingers snapping, feet tapping. It's the best I've ever felt playing hot piano, sizzling with Mad Dog, swinging with the Black Mesa Boys, or on my own. Crazy I've ever felt, sizzling with swinging with the Black Mesa Boys, crazy, pestering the keys. That is heaven. Playing piano can be. January 1934, birthday for FDR. I played so well on Wednesday night. Arlie put his arm across my shoulder and asked me to come and perform at the president's birthday ball. Ma can't say no to this one. It's for President Roosevelt. Not that Mr. Roosevelt will actually be there, but the money collected at the ball, along with the balls all over the country, will go in the president's name to the Warm Springs Foundation, where Mr. Roosevelt stayed once when he was sick. Someday, I plan to play for President Franklin Delano Roosevelt himself. Maybe I'll go all the way to the White House in Washington, D.C. In the meantime, it's pretty nice, Arlie asking me to play twice for Joyce City. January 1934, not too much to ask. We haven't had a good crop in 3 years, not since the bounty of 31, and we're all whittled down to the bone these days. Even Ma with her new round belly. But still, when the committee came asking, Ma donated 3 jars of applesauce and some cured pork, and a feed sack nightie she'd sewn for our coming baby. February 1934, Mr. Harley's money handling. It was Daddy's birthday, and Ma decided to bake him a cake. There wasn't enough money for anything like a real present. Ma sent me to fetch the extras with 50 cents she'd been hiding away. Don't go to Joyce Silly Billy, she said. You can get what you need down Harley's store. I slipped the coins into my sweater pocket, the pocket without the hole, thinking about how many sheets of new music 50 cents would buy. Mr. Harley glared when the Wonder Bread door banged shut behind me. He squinted as I creaked across the wooden floor. Mr. Harley was in the habit of charging too much for his stale food, and he made bad change when he thought he could get away with it. I squinted back at him as I gave him Ma's order. Mr. Harley's been worse than normal since his attic filled with dust and collapsed under the weight. He hired folks for the repairs and argued over every nail and every little minute. The whole place took shoveling for days before he could open again, and some stock was so bad it had to be thrown away. The stove clanked in the corner as Mr. Harley filled Ma's order. I could smell apples, ground coffee, and peppermint. I sorted through the patterns on the feed bags, sneezed dust, blew my nose. When Mr. Harley finished sacking my things, I paid the bill, and tucking the list in my pocket along with the change, hurried home so Ma could bake the cake before Daddy came in. But after Ma emptied the sack, setting each packet out on the oilcloth, she counted her change, and I remembered with a sinking feeling that I hadn't kept an eye on Mr. Harley's money handling, and Mr. Harley had cheated again. Only this time, he had cheated himself, giving us 4 cents extra. So while Ma mixed a cake, I walked back to Mr. Harley's store, back through the dust, back through the Wonder Bread door, and thinking about the secondhand music in a moldy box at the shop in Joyce City. Music I could have for 2 cents a sheet. I placed Mr. Harley's overpayment on the counter and turned to head back home. Mr. Harley cleared his throat, and I wondered for a moment if he'd call me back to offer a piece of peppermint or pick me out an apple from the crate. But he didn't. And that's okay. Ma would have thrown a fit if I'd taken a gift from him. February 1934, 50 miles south of home. In Amarillo, wind blew plate glass windows in, tore electric signs down, ripped wheat straight out of the ground.